Shikha, firstly, I want to warmly welcome you on Filme Shilmy. It's so fabulous to be in conversation with you for Coolie No.1. How have you been?
I've been very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Fabulous. So, of course, Coolie No.1, the original film, released back in 1995. And obviously, at that time, our mindsets was different. India was a very different country back then as well. The way we operated as human beings and thought. How do you think this sort of remake will be more relevant and appropriate for the audiences of today?
With the year that we've had, I think we definitely need a few laughs. And that's what we're coming with on Christmas Day for everybody, that we need a few laughs. And it is definitely a version that's it's refreshed for 2020. And but it's got the same drama, it's got the same action, it's got the same dancing, and it's got the same, you know, all your laughs that, till your sides are gonna hurt. It's got all of that, and hopefully everybody's going to be equally entertained, if not more.
Yes, absolutely. So I think we saw a glimpse of you in the trailer where you're dancing with Varun, and I think you're just sort of running away from someone or something in a hotel. So I
Yes,
presume, given by the dialogue as well that took place in the trailer, you're playing Paresh Rawal's daughter in the film, right?
yes, yes. Sara and I play sisters.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
what was that like then to sort of have that sort of sisterly vibe with Sarah?
Well, it was absolute fun because this is the first time I met Sara on this film, thanks to this project. And we were just trying to figure out, okay, what should we do next? How do we make it funnier? Okay, what should I do next? How should we make it funnier? So we were just like, we were exchanging notes all the time. So it's like, okay, now, now it's going to be this line. Do you think, how do you think I should say it to make it, more fun, or make it, make the scene better? So it was a very collaborative effort for sure.
That's wonderful to sort of hear that as well. I can just imagine you both having that sort of a vibe, and I'm glad you kind of talked about how to make it funnier because I believe your dad actually was in the first Coolie No.1, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yes.
And he's obviously worked with David Dhawan quite a lot. So what tips has he kind of given you to kind of make sure that you sort of adapt to his tone of comedy and to his style of films as well?
I went up to my dad when I signed the film, and I'm just like, okay, Coolie No.1 is happening again, and David sir has called me, and I'm going to be doing it. So do you have any advice for me? And he said something very, very important, which was just have fun. And that's all you need to do. You don't need to prepare anything. You just need to be ready, and you need to take direction and just have fun. And that is exactly what happened on set.
Wow. So I think that David Dhawan style of comedy as well, it's very difficult to sort of get because you have to make sure you're in proportion and not going overboard, right? So how conscious were you about that when you were on set and doing the film?
For me, honestly, I've seen, of course, my dad and him and David sir have collaborated over the years. So, of course, I've seen all those films. I've loved all those films and I've enjoyed all those films. And honestly, with any character and with every director and all my co-stars, you have to just go in with complete trust and complete faith. And we had the great David sir, who was the captain of the ship, who kept leading us back in whenever we kind of swayed a little away from what we were supposed to do. So it was, the minute you have trust and you're in a collaborative space, and David sir gave us a lot of freedom to really make the scene our own. So when you have that, and you're having fun while you're doing it, it's really hard to mess it up or get really nervous about what you're doing.
Sure, sure. Now, Shikha, I think before Coolie No.1, in two of your prominent Bollywood films, which was obviously Wake Up Sid and Vida the Wedding, and of course you've done a lot of work as well apart from that too. You played very sort of doting characters, supporting characters, but are yet sort of facing their own sort of insecurities and their own sort of darkness. Is this something that you also relate with on a more subconscious level as a person as well?
Absolutely, I think everybody does. I mean, I think you'd be a superhuman if you didn't. Everybody, people who don't look like me, people who aren't like me at all, I'm sure they face it as well. Everybody does. That's a human condition. And there are good days, there are bad days, there's completely average days, and there's some fantastic days where nothing can bog you down at all. But I mean, welcome to being a human. So yeah.
Lockdown has had pretty much of those days, I think, to be very honest with you. Had a lot of those very fluctuating days where it's been very up and very down and
Yeah.
everything. I can totally relate with that as well. But in preparation for this interview, actually, I was reading up, and I think I read something that you said actually, where you were offered several roles which were about being fat and eating a lot. That's something that I read. Um, it must have been quite disappointing for you to sort of get that. How did you cope with such offers? I mean, that must have really kind of irked you quite a lot too, right?
Oh, it does. It still does. The occasional ones that still come about with the same one-dimensional character brief, they still irk me. Um, I've cried. I've gotten angry. I've been disappointed. I've lost hope. I've thrown a fit, all alone in my own room by myself, of course. Uh, but the thing is that right now, if I concentrated on that, I don't think I would have survived for this long. And if I gave it all the attention that I gave it all the attention, I don't think I would have survived. I don't think I would have found the paths that I did. I wouldn't have enjoyed my journey so far. So again, as it's the brutal truth. Yes, I do get irritated with it. Yes, it does affect me on days, but you can't keep holding on to that, and you need to just keep looking for greener, better pastures out there for you personally as a creative artist.
Mm.
So yeah, and I'm a complete hopeless optimist. So that really helps.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it does. But I think on a larger scale and a larger picture, in what way do you think Bollywood can stop portraying large-bodied characters in a very regressive and stereotypical manner? What do you think needs to be done? I mean, what do you think you can do as a creative artist, as someone who's very talented and very promising? What do you think you can do to change that stereotype?
By choosing characters that speak to me as just an actor, and not a fat actor. And I think we just need to be more inclusive. I wouldn't have had the career that I've had so far, or be it on stage, or be it in the online space, or be it in cinema. I mean, the fact that we had a film like Beauty the Wedding, we had a film like that where there were four different women, and it wasn't like my character wasn't just about my body. It was much more than that. So I think the more, and right now, honestly, right now, as a creative human being, right now the creative space is just so fertile and so wonderful, because there's so many different stories coming up. There are nuanced characters coming up. There's something for everybody. And we have different platforms. We have stage, we have the online space, we have cinema, we have spoken word. There's just so many different ways of expressing yourselves and yourself, and sharing your art with people. So I think, fingers crossed, that I think we're just more inclusive, and we really step away from putting people in boxes.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we speak about that stereotype and stuff, I kind of look at in Hollywood, for example, we have Melissa McCarthy, who's done so fabulous with her life, and her sort of trajectory. Because I'm sure she's also faced what you faced as well in your life, and the way she's kind of come out of the box and doing such amazing content. So I think that's also nice to see that at least nowadays actors are being offered roles based on the talent and the capabilities rather than everything else. Because I think what looks ka zamana gaya, it's gone way too far, even though people might say otherwise. Would you agree?
I completely agree. I completely agree. But also, I think we have to be very aware of the fact that people like Melissa, and people like there's so many wonderful artists out there. After having gone through that entire journey of trying to figure out which parts fit for you, and which parts you're okay with doing and not okay with doing, and all of that, they created their own work. And the fact that we have an audience that is accepting that work and is appreciating that work and supporting that work, that is very important. Because then suddenly everybody's like, oh yeah, we didn't even think about it because we were so we weren't even paying attention that yeah, you know what, we can cast her or him or them as not the stereotypical cookie cutter version that we have, kept aside. So I think the fact that we have an audience which is also hungry for so much more newer content and is accepting inclusive storytelling, I think is a huge plus.
Absolutely, absolutely. So obviously, your dad, Shikha Talsania, is a legend. Obviously, he's one of the finest actors I think we've had, and he's worked in so many films over the years. I mean, I still remember him as BBC in Raju Chacha. I mean, that's how much I've kind of loved and grown up watching.
That's so sweet. I'll tell him that. He'll be very happy.
Oh yes, please do. Yes. So I mean, having such a big example like that at home, how much of that kind of influenced your decision of becoming an actor?
I'm sure it did. I mean, look, when you're growing up, every kid, doesn't matter what your parents' profession is, but I think when you're growing up, you assume that you're going to do exactly what your parent is doing because that's the only job in the world, and there's no other job in the world, and that's the only one. So yeah, I'm sure it did. And of course, the environment that I grew up in, I used to go with them to their stage performances. I've seen them perform, I've seen them tour, I've seen them on set, and I've spent a lot of time with their colleagues, which were fellow artists. So I think it definitely somewhere subconsciously must have been there. But to be very honest, we're individuals at the end of the day, and we've made our own path, and we've come to it very organically. They didn't have to I wasn't forced to just get into the arts. I was allowed to explore whatever I wanted to. I was encouraged to explore whatever I wanted to, and that's why I didn't have I started acting when I was, it was 2008 is when I started acting professionally. And before that, I was doing something else. And I don't know, maybe I'll do something else after this. I'm doing something else right now. I'm also doodling. So there are many things that I want to explore. But acting is definitely one of the loves of my life. And I discovered it very much on my own.
So obviously, what would you say is your USP as an actor, as an artist?
I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that. Hopefully, bringing truth to a character.
Okay, I'll let you get away with that one because I think it can often get very difficult to kind of describe yourself, I guess, in that manner. So I can totally understand that. But I think also, Shikha, you've done extremely well. You've carved a very good. So what styles of works or characters or types of cinema would you like to explore now going forward?
Thank you so much for that. That's very kind of you. Very honestly, and I'm being my brutal honest version of me. I'm honestly telling you, everything that I haven't done so far, those are my dream roles. Everything that I haven't done so far. So maybe a thriller, maybe a sci-fi film, maybe a period drama. I don't know. Everything that I haven't done so far, I want to do it all. I want to work on international projects. I want to work with different languages. I just did something in Marathi. So I honestly just want to do everything that I haven't done so far.
Right. You speak Gujarati too, right? As well?
Yes.
Right. I would love to see you in a Gujarati movie one day because that industry is going so strong. It would be very fun. I said maja avse.
બહુ મજા આવશે અને હું વેઇટ કરું છું કે મને એકદમ સરસ સ્ક્રિપ્ટ મળે.
Definitely. But look, I think, Shikha, on that note, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for joining me on Filme Shilmy. And I really enjoyed speaking with you. I think it's always been a wish of mine to kind of chat with you since, like, I think we did the wedding days, and
Thank you.
unfortunately,
That's very sweet of you. And it's
time
been
and
an
circumstances.
absolute pleasure chatting with you as well.
Oh, well, I'm wishing you all the very best for Coolie No.1 as well, and I can't
Thank
wait to watch it
you.
on Amazon Prime.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shikha.
I hope you
Thank
enjoy
you very
it. Take
much.
care. Bye.
Bye.